Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to learn how to basically use functions. And one aspect of learning to write computer programs is the use of libraries or other functions that other programmers have already written so that you can quickly develop a program of your own using what other folks have written. So what we have done is we've created a whole series of functions, and the screen, it might be a little hard to see them, so I'm going to zoom in and out a little bit. But these are different types of functions that we can use to control our LED light. Right? So we have a function called fade. It does exactly what you think it does. It's going to fade from bright to light, and then it will repeat that over and over again. So it's kind of going to go warm as a light. And then we have night writer functions, which are going to have the lights go back and forth. We have a function called rainbow, and it's going to rotate it through different types of rainbows. We have two at a time function, which means that it's going to light up two of the little LED strips at a time and have them go back and then have it repeat that. So if you wanted to do fancy patterns or something like that, you could easily go through and use these functions. So let's go through and see how we use those. So in the startup of this program, and it's called Light Functions, and you can download this program and use it, and then we can basically copy these functions into our program as we see fit. So in our start loop, what we've done is we've identified the strip, the LED strip. We're going to have it plugged into P2. It's at 30. And we've got this variable called bright set to 0. And that's just going to be a count. And we're going to use that as part of our fade function. So you don't really need to know where that is coming from right now. And we're going to just initialize our brightness for our strip to be a maximum of 255. And what we're going to do is plug in our microbit into our Grove Shield, and it's now popped up. I'm going to go over to my functions and look at all the functions that we have. The first function I am going to use is I'm going to call the fade function into the forever block. Okay. So let's zoom in a little bit. So now I've just got that fade function there. I'm going to plug my LED strip in. I've already installed it on the microbit. And so let's watch what happens to our little LED strip slowly over time. All right, you can kind of begin to see it start to fade up and down. Okay, we're reaching our maximum again. And it's going to start to fade once it reaches a max again. Because then it's going to repeat that forever, right? Because I put the fade function in my forever loop. Okay. But if I want to say, you know, I'm not really a big fan of the fade function, I can just drag it out. I can go back to my functions. And I'm going to do night writer type function. I'm going to call mini colors. I'm going to install that onto my microbit. Okay. And this is how this looks. Alright, so we're going to see our little strip. There it goes. And it's going to continue to repeat that over and over again. So what's happening is each strip is lit up as a different color, and then it's going to bounce. It's going to go all the way through the strip, bounce back, and it's going to repeat this function over and over and over again because it is in my forever loop. Okay. Now, what we also can do is to say, yeah, you know, maybe I want to have multiple functions. So maybe I want to have my LED light to blink, and maybe I want to have a bounce feature. So let's call bounce, see what that does. Mini colors and blink. So what's going to happen in my forever loop is these functions are just going to run. And how this works is when I click download, install it on it, my microbit, install the program on my microbit, it's going to call the bounce function. It's going to go through all the code in the bounce function. Then it's going to go through all the code in the mini colors. And then it's going to go through all the code in blink. So in essence, all these functions again are just kind of mini programs, right? But now if I wanted to change one of these programs, let's say I wanted to change my one at a time function. And right now I have my one at a time function set to where each pixel is going to be red. I could just change it here, and then back up in my forever loop, it's going to take that change. So I don't have to scroll through a whole bunch of blocks to be able to find what I need to change. I can just go, well, which function do I want to change? I go find the function, I make the change, and it automatically happens in the forever loop. So let's download this, and let's watch what happens. All right, that's my one at a time. Notice it's the red. All right, and it's going to bounce. All right, there's my mini colors. All right, now I should blink. Okay. The blink might be hard to pick up on the camera because it blinks very fast. Okay. And again, if you go, well, that's too fast of a blink, all I have to do is go find my blink function. Right, so right now where I've got this to be at 100, I can change that to say 2 seconds. Okay, and it's going to repeat it 10 times. So I've already changed it. All right, and so back up in my forever loop, when I go to blink, let's see what happens when I download it. There goes my one at a time. It's going to go red, and it's going to bounce back as blue. All right, there's my Knight Rider of many colors. All right. So now it's blinking a little bit slower. And again, it might be a little hard to pick up on the screen, but you can kind of see it pulse every time it blinks. And we repeat. Awesome. And so there is how we use functions. And all of these functions you can use. The program is downloadable. And anytime that you find programs on the Make Code website or other sites, that you can download them and you can make functions out of them. And that makes you being able to create a fairly sophisticated program. But that means that you don't have to troubleshoot a program that's got maybe 200 blocks in it. Right, this fade block is only got 7, but if I wanted to do bounce, mini colors, and blink, right, that gets to be a lot of blocks. So functions allow us to break our program down into smaller parts, which makes it easier for us to understand.